Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon where I'll be talking about anything Disney related, whether it's their movies, TV shows, you name it. If it's related to Disney in any kind of shape or form, then yes, I'll be talking about it. So I just figured I'm just trying to wrap things up here because I'm doing the fourth part for this religious individual. I don't understand what's with these religious people and Disney. They seem to have this really hate boner against Disney. I know that's a weird way of saying it, but whatever, guys. Anyhow, but I just thought I'd just do more of this just as a way to just talk about more stuff because it's just ridiculous. Of course, when you think about it, it's really ridiculous. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought I'd do this because of the fact that I did the other part and I just want to get this over with. Really, to be honest, I want to be done with this by this point. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm I'm tired of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm sick of this. It's just the same thing over and over again. I mean, okay, sometimes it's a bit different, sure, but at the end of the day, regardless of reason, at the end of the day, they just want to hate Disney just because it's Disney, of course. And yes, this individual is using Bambi just to hate on Disney. So yes, they would. When I say they, I mean the religious people. They will use multiple stupid things to hate Disney, even if they change it from time to time. But at the end of God, it's just to hate Disney. But anyway, with that being said, let's get into it, shall we?
Anybody can see this stuff. Unless you want to live in complete denial in your own little Disney fantasy world. And why do people do that? You know why? Because they think, I just want my children to have fun. Well, you had fun. Look what it brought you. Why don't you give them a different type of fun? Because the type of fun you had messed up your life. So why are you going to curse your children with the same mess that you got cursed with? I just want my children to have fun. So you're just going to basically hide your eyes and put your head in the sand. Do you need somebody to tell you that Hannah Montana is wicked from hell?
Hannah Montana, yes, of course, you can bring that up. This was not the only time, by the way, folks. Of course, people like this will bring Hannah Montana up. Of course, she's somehow a satanic monster, according to people like this. This was not the only time. And yes, I've done other videos where, of course, these religious people attack her. Hannah Montana, she does seem like the nicest person out there. She seems really sweet. I never met her in person, of course, obviously, like a lot of people haven't. A point being, she does seem like a pretty decent person, actually. But, of course, that doesn't stop people like this from attacking her because, again, I'm guessing it's because, oh, it's a facade somehow and she's evil, I guess. Which all is just a lie, of course. You don't necessarily have to know everything about a certain individual to realize that somebody is making up lies, which is in this case is the case because this individual is just making up lies about her just because she was a part of Disney. That's it.
Do you need somebody to tell you? Do you honestly need me as a pastor to stand up and show you that the little demon maid is wicked? You might as well just beg the devil to turn your children into rebellious homosexuals. You might as well just beg him. Call him up and just beg him to curse your children. Because basically, to set them before this stuff is pretty much just like begging the devil to come to your house and curse your children. There's not much difference in it. Thomas A. Carter, president of Child Care Action Project, said, I not only support the Disney boycott because of the homosexual and lesbian propensity of Disney.
Again, what the hell does any of this have to do with Bambi? What exactly? Okay, they support the LGBT plus community. Okay, and so what? That doesn't mean they're doing something bad. I know you're going to claim that they are, but so what? Whoop-de-doo. I mean, he was already taking his jabs at the LGBT plus already in the previous video. So having him saying this right now isn't surprising. Of course you would. Of course. But you're just making shit up again. What are you talking about?
For the apparent pro-arrogance, anti-Christian, and anti-family.
This is what you call a slippery slope fallacy. Because he's acting as if one bad thing will lead to another bad thing, lead to another bad thing, which will lead to another bad thing equal to another bad thing, which will result to even more bad things. If that sounds incredibly vague and just generalizing it, that's because it is. Because he's providing little to no context whatsoever. I mean, like I was saying in my previous video, are there bad gay people? Of course there are. There are some bad gay people. But that in itself has nothing to do with them being gay. You can be good or bad regardless of your sexual orientation. And what do you mean anti-Christian? You can be Christian and be gay. And also, you can have a great, wonderful family and be gay as well. That is possible. So again, what are you talking about? That makes no
An
sense.
anti-parental authority trend of Disney. David J. Stewart in Walt Disney is of the Devil says there's no influence any more dangerous and damning to young people today.
Wait, what? What's damaging to young folks nowadays? What is? You still didn't explain nothing. You're not explaining anything. What? What is damaging the family? What is damaging Christianity? What is harming young folks? Who is brainwashing you? What are you talking about?
Especially young girls and Walt Disney. Walt Disney shows are nothing less than an introduction course into the nightclub life. Disney makes extensive use of rock and roll, corrupting children with worldly philosophies and the demonic influences of rock music.
Of course, you're going to attack a different type of music. Of course, you would. But again, what does any of this have to do with Bambi? I thought we were supposed to talk about Bambi. That's a part of Satanic movie. What are you talking about? What?
Young beautiful girls are filmed wearing sparkling lip gloss, tight jeans, etc., making seductive gestures with their facial expression. Walt Disney is of the devil. Disney's little whores all possess impudent-looking faces, expressing their rebellion against God's Word, which is the hallmark of feminism. No teenage girl should be drugged out like a whore, adorned with dark eyeshadow, wearing bedroom attire and high heels. Are y'all listening to me?
Are you listening? Look, I'm yelling. I guess since I'm yelling, I'm more yelling. I guess that means I have a point. I guess. Ah! Okay, okay. I know I should have done that, but I just thought it was funny. I mean, what are you talking about? What? Huh?
This is Walt Disney today, and it is a rotten evil to the core. Disney's girls.
Disney's not the only people that does representation. You realize that, right? Even DC itself, the company that makes comic books and stuff, they have their own representation as well, to some extent, like, to various extents, of course. So you're telling me they're evil just because of that? Again, what's the problem? You're just making stuff up. That's not even true. This entire thing is groundless. I mean, granted, it was like that since the beginning, sure, but I'm just saying. I'm like, okay. So there are people who are different than you. There are people out there that's not the same as you are. So are you fearing that you're going to be replaced? Is that what it is? You realize that it can't be the same forever. This is bound to happen at some point or another where people are accepting of others, even despite being different. This is what's going to eventually happen. Yes, gay people have their own culture. Yes, gay people have their own books. Yes, gay people have their own TV shows. Way, 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 way before this. They were singers. They were film directors. They were actors, actresses. They were poem writers, script writers, you name it. They were already in the industry decades and decades and decades prior to this. This is not new. It's literally not new. You just failed to realize it back then. So again, what are you talking about?
Impudent-looking faces, bad attitudes, a lack of respect for authority, and are feminist in training. Parents are made to look naive, ignorant, boring, and obsolete. You know what they're doing? They're showing how modern Disney is all of these things. I'm going to show you that classic Disney is the same way. Children, obey your parents in the Lord. This is right. Colossians 3, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. Proverbs 18, a fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may what? Discover itself. Okay, what I'm about to read is rated G for gullible Christians. I think they stuck a G on all of this stuff for gullible Christians. That's what I think G means. Rated G because you're gullible. Way back in 1946, an animated version of the story Peter and the Wolf was produced by Walt Disney. Follow me now. Peter, a young boy, lives at his grandfather's home. See, they couldn't put the father here quite yet. See, they do that in a decade or two. But right now it's the grandfather, see. He lives in a forest clearing. One day Peter goes out into the clearing, leaving the garden gate open. Peter's grandfather scolds Peter for being outside in the meadow. Suppose a wolf came out in the forest. And when Peter defies him, saying that boys like me are not afraid of wolves, his grandfather takes him back into the house and locks the gate. Soon afterwards, a big gray wolf does indeed come out of the forest. Peter fetches a rope and climbs over the garden wall into the tree. He asks the birds to fly around the wolf's head to distract it while he lowers the noose and catches the wolf by its tail. Some hunters who have been tracking the wolf come out of the forest ready to shoot, but Peter gets them to help him take the wolf to a zoo in a victory parade that includes himself, the bird, the hunters leading the wolf, the cat, and the grumpy, grumbling grandfather saying, what if Peter hadn't caught the wolf? What then? Okay.
Pretty much, in other words, what he's trying to claim is that some bad stuff is going to happen if you don't follow his version of Christianity. And again, to use the wolf as an example, as a metaphor here. Of course, he's going to use these stories as a metaphor. Of course you're going to attack the feminists. Of course you would. You're going to attack the gays, the lesbians, the bisexuals, the pansexual, whatever else asexual, of course. You're going to attack the trans community, whether female to male or male to female, whatever. Or even people who are intersex or hermaphrodite, whatever title you want to go by. Point being is that everybody in this community is going to be attacked because, oh no, these people live different than I do, and somehow that in itself translates to that they're a bunch of criminals. How does that even mean that they're a bunch of criminals? I don't even know. What does that even mean? I mean, again, although bad people in some groups, of course, those bad people are in literally every single group, in all groups. Straight people too. There's good and bad people in every single group. That is true. But that doesn't mean that the entire group itself is bad. Even if the entire group is bad, like the old saying goes, there are some exceptions to the rule, of course. Are there any bad groups in the war? Yes, there are. Like racist skinheads, the Nazis, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Sure, there are bad groups in the war. I will agree. But you have to be careful on who you're talking about because you have to have something to back that up. You can't just claim that, oh, someone is evil just because they're fighting for women's rights, or someone's evil just because someone's gay or whatever else you're gonna think. That in itself is not evidence. It's the whole slippery slope logical fallacy I mentioned earlier, folks. One bad thing leads to another bad thing leads to another bad thing. So the thing I just said a moment ago is just this again. He's just going to beat your head with that over and over again. But okay.
Are our minds really that ignorant that you cannot see that that is satanic? That Peter found fulfillment. He found glory. He found applause. He found himself. How? Disobeying his grumbly grandfather. Now, in the original story, the duck at least dies. He has at least some consequence. But in the Disney show, no consequence whatsoever. Victory comes through rebellion. Where have you heard that message? Genesis chapter 3. Bambi of 1942 was based on an Austrian novel written by Felix Stalin, a Freemason, which was targeted to adults. His book was an adult book. It is known as one of the first environmental novels. The American Rifles Association didn't like the way it presented hunters in just one negative light, you know.
Okay. So there's a group out there that you mentioned that didn't like being presented in a bad light. Okay, I don't see the relation here to this at all. I mean, okay. I mean, if you want to make complaint about something, you have the right to. You can do that if you want. That doesn't mean people won't listen, but you can complain if you want. But again, whatever the case may be, what does any of this have to do with anything? You're just rambling at this point. I'm okay. To be fair, you already were, but still, you're just rambling even further and even more so. This is just tiring. Yeah, and that's the thing, folks. I was supposed to finish this already, but I'm just lollygagging at this point. But anyway, it's just ridiculous. A lot of Christians already became angry, became infuriated with things like Rihanna because she does support the LGBT plus community, and she came out of the closet herself as well. And oh boy, people complained, and they complained, and they complained, which I don't understand really. If you don't like her music, just don't listen to it. That's it. It's literally that simple.
Not showing there is a good use of hunting. The original book was far darker than Disney's movie, but even in 1942, people thought the movie was controversial for a children's film due to the violence. About the only rebellion in the movie is basically over a young person eating greens, where a young person secretly tells another one behind his mother's back that greens really do taste terrible. Now that might be cute to some, and you might say, well, they're just rebelling over eating greens, you know, but you got to realize these are children's minds. They're not dealing with methamphetamines yet. They're not dealing with fornication. Rebellion at their level is, I'm not going to eat what Mama told me to eat. And I'm going to go talk with my friends about how I'm going to be rebellious against my parent. Now you say, that's cute. I don't think it's cute, number one. But when you're dealing with 5-year-olds, that's not cute. You want your children defying what you tell them to do? I would not recommend even this old Bambi film for any young person.
Well, you can just shove it up your ass. That's what you're gonna do. Because you don't be telling me what to do. Again, what does any of this have to do with anything? You're just rambling on for no actual good reason whatsoever. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what's going on really. I'm just confused, really. But okay. I mean, yeah, some people that are different than you. But what's the issue really? What's the problem? I don't get this. It's just complete nonsense, folks. It's the effect before the cause. That's what this is about. And it's ass backwards. It's really ass backwards. I don't get it. But okay, so Disney's different nowadays. So what? But what's the problem? You still didn't explain what the problem is. Of course. So what's the issue? What? I don't get it. But okay. This is whatever, man. Just whatever. Let's just trying to wrap it up. This video is very long enough as it is. I'm already feeling that it's dragging on and longer than it should be. But okay. Anyway, can we just wrap it up, please? Because like I said, I don't feel like doing this. This is dumb. It's so dumb. What are you talking about?
Putting aside humanist themes of self-determination and going through life in a profane way, Esau he went through life without God. You can get through all your problems without prayer. Children, you can learn to get through all your problems. You don't have to pray. You don't have to rely upon God. You just exist. That's humanism. But put aside all of that. Even in this early day of 1942, all of the female characters are bold and forward. They flirt. They run up and kiss the male characters. Is this proper? Is this what God says a woman should be? Oh, and by the way, I call this the blasphemy of Bambi. Blasphemy is rebelling against anything, speaking against it in a rebellious way. But I'm going to show you something. Every one of these Disney films, I went through the old records. I bought the old 33s and went through and listened to these stories. And I'm going to tell you, they are all filled with taking the name of the Lord in vain. All of them. The Bible says, abstain from every appearance of evil, all appearance of evil. Romans 3 says, make not provision for the flesh. Matthew 5 says, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. Ephesians 4 says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying. Exodus 20 says, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. All throughout.
Excuse me? Wait, what? Sorry, I'm confused. So, if anybody that disagrees with you, if anybody watches Disney stuff, or if anybody supports the LGBT plus community, if anybody supports any kind of music that you don't like, if anybody just does something that you don't approve of, whatever that may be, they're the vain one. They're the crazy, they're the lunatic who don't know what they're talking about. They're too arrogant. What are you talking about? Again, what is this based upon? This is literally nothing. It's a nothing sandwich. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I know I've been saying like this stuff already, and because I'm entirely confused. Because I don't. It just seems why does this have to be a thing? I don't know. I really don't. I don't get it. Because this entire thing does not need to be a situation whatsoever. People just want to live their lives. That's it. Those people want to live their lives and just be on the merry way. Literally, no one's attacking you. Literally, no one is attacking you. Why? Why do you have to think that someone's out there? You're playing the victim again. You already created a scene. You create a scene before a scene happens. By which I mean, you already have in your head that these people are going to attack you. And once you are in the public and actually start criticizing, okay, more like bashing, somebody that's gay or whatever else you can think of. Oh, let me guess, you don't like the pagans too, right? Okay, what if you come across a lesbian pagan? Oh, I should say Wicca. A lesbian Wicca, or whatever you want to call them. And if you bash this person for being different than you are, and they push back, and then you use that as evidence, like, see, how dare you pick on me? I'm being discriminated against, even though you're the one that started the situation from the very get-go. This makes no sense at all. You're just acting as if it's all on you to help the world. You're trying to save society from crumbling. Crumbling from what exactly? I don't even know. I don't know what you're trying to save it from exactly. But sure, if you say so. Again, what's the problem? What's the issue? You still didn't explain anything. As I mentioned before, folks, in my previous videos, I don't care if you likes Bambi. I don't. A lot of people likes a lot of people do view the film as a classic anyway, so it's kind of like whatever. It just seems odd that this has to be a thing. Why? But anyway, oh yeah, I get why. Because he's making stuff up. He's making this shit up that doesn't have to be a thing whatsoever. I'm guessing. I guess he must be bored of his life. He's bored. He doesn't have anything else to do with himself, really. So he just wants to create his own problem as a way to make his life feel more fulfillment. I guess. Like he has something else going on. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand any of this. Well, okay, but okay, why do you have to attack Bambi anyway? I don't. That's like one of the major things I'm trying to grasp here. Why specifically? Which you didn't state exactly.
These Bambi shows, you have a form of cussing using euphemisms. Instead of using the name of Jesus, they shorten it to G's. He say, oh, that's just a little fun. Well, next time I stomp my foot, how about I use your mama's name? How about we make it a church tradition that every time we hurt our toe or finger, we use the name of your mama? Oh, you'd have people standing up. You're not going to use my mama's name as a cuss word. See, the problem is you have no respect for Jesus. Jesus, you're to love Him more than your mama. I don't like using Jesus' name as a cuss word. And I certainly don't want to teach little children to do it. Phrases.org says the little term gee whiz By the way, it's basically saying Jesus is a wizard. He's certainly not a wizard, is he? Derived in the USA as a euphemistic shorthand for Jesus. In other words, it is a minced oath. Online etymological dictionary, euphemistic for Jesus.
Well, of course, you don't want little children to be exposed to this because you want to run the risk. Yeah, you don't want to run the risk of them having new ideas. You don't want them to have their own ideas. And if they do develop any ideas of their own, it would have to be in relation to what you think, like a damn dictator. They just mean this makes it seem like a lot of you Christians, I didn't say all, but a lot of them anyway, are sure they're sure in line with communism. Well, that's how it sounds like. Communist Cuba is Catholic. It's just funny how communism and somebody of faith can go hand in hand. And it's no different. At the end of the day, granted, yes, I could just end the entire video here if I wanted to, because ultimately, what this person want, like many others, they just want absolute control. Absolutely, you want to control every aspect of the government because they feel like they have every right to do so. Because apparently, they know what the right thing to do. They know how to deal with people. They know how to deal with individuals whom they don't like, which is basically anybody, almost anybody. They can't even get along with each other because when you think about the fact that those people are Catholic, those people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, Baptists, just to name a few, these religious individuals can't even agree on which political text is the truth. And yes, I do believe that the biblical text has been altered over the years. I really don't want to go into that really because that's not really the point of this video, really, at the end of the day. But yes, I do believe that a lot of the text was eventually altered by people. It just leads me to believe that the entire thing of the Bible was man made. And just people like this just want to assume that Satan is trying to control everything, which of course is a lie. You may have the right to believe in whatever you want, but this kind of attitude can be a serious turnoff for a lot of people because you're unintentionally pushing people away. And when people actually do rebel against what you have to say, what you're trying to teach here, then you just blame the devil. Of course, you're not going to take accountability whatsoever. It's always somebody else's fault, never your own. But I think it's funny when you think about it in a really moronic sort of way, but yet here we are.
All throughout. Now today they just come out in shows and say Jesus. But back then they had to just shorten it just a little bit. See. Now, Bambi 1 is filled with so many taking the name of the Lord in vain and blatant, bold, forward females and that type of thing that I would never allow my children to see such trash. But Bambi 2, 2006. Wait till all of these folks grew up. It's filled with young characters lying, talking back to parents, arguing with them. You have the line, the family that plays together stays together. Is that true? It continues taking the name of the Lord in vain, euphemistically, but this time there is a strict father who commands Bambi to stay behind in the den. Bambi feels dejected. He plots with his friends to sneak out. They meet an angry character who says things like, back in my day we had respect. That's the problem with these kids today. But this character is portrayed to be nutty. Is this good for children? So what does this make you think of? What is this going to make a child think of? Your preacher is nutty. See, Daddy is nutty. Oh, but guess what? His father finally discovers that he left the den. But guess what? There's no discipline. Oh, where have we heard this thing? There is only surprise that Bambi jumped so far. And he gets praised and rewarded by his father. Just like in Harry Potter books. Once you rebel, the teachers praise you. Because you're on your training course to self-discovery. Bambi's father says, you found yourself. You know, you did this wonderful jump.
Wait, what's trash exactly? Oh yeah, just because a woman is a female lead, and she's trying to be her own boss, so to speak, Okay, what if the female character in a movie is running her own cake business, and that's somehow bad? I guess to make it worse, let's just say she's an atheist, and that somehow is a bad thing as well. I still don't know what you're talking about, really. I thought we were supposed to be talking about Bambi. So I think we lost the plot a long time ago. I think that's what happened here. We lost the plot a long time ago. I mean, assuming there was one to begin with, still. I don't get this. It just seems rather bizarre, if you ask me, because we were supposed to talk about how supposedly the Bambi film is bad. We still haven't discussed that, really. Not really, at all. Because if you want to judge the film on its own merits, I guess you can do that, sure. But again, just because you don't like the movie, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Like I just mentioned in a previous video. I'm not gonna repeat myself here really because even though I feel like I am already doing that to some extent. Because I've heard these stupid complaints before. But anyway, all that aside, so okay, women have more rights nowadays than compared to back then. That's true. It's not that women didn't have any rights back in the day because they did, like in the 1930s, or 1940s, or even the 1920s. Yeah, they had the rights back then, sure, but it's just that it was like to a limited capacity. That's the thing. It was a limited capacity to some extent. They did, but they were still heavily restricted. They were still heavily looked after because there was a lot of stuff, and I do mean a lot of stuff they couldn't do. Like for example, they couldn't have a credit card without a man, like their whole husband, of course. They need their approval first, and then we'll see how that goes. Which is stupid because you need to approve of something that mundane, really something that small. I mean, yes, I do know there are some women out there that do have bad spending habits, and it would become a much bigger thing that should be. That in itself hasn't is not a gender thing. It's just somebody with a bad spending habits, of course. Anyway, I still don't get any of this really because it's just complete nonsense. Or you're just trying to make Disney look bad just because of this. And there's some kind of spiritual warfare going on because people disagree with you. Again, this is what you call a hasty generalization. That's what this is a hasty generalization, really, in the end of the day, because you're still not explaining nothing. Oh, this entire thing is extremely vague. And again, just because you don't like a certain group of people, that in itself it doesn't mean they're bad. It could mean that they're bad, you have to be really specific on what that is. Just because you can't just say you don't like somebody without proving any context. But of course, all subtlety is lost with this guy when you think about it, of course, because people like him, especially people who are religious, we got to some extreme extent. It's all black and white. You're good because you're Christian, and everybody, well, his version of Christianity, and everyone else is bad. So of course, it's very black and white. He's looking through a very black and white lens. You either with me or against me. That's it. There's no subtlety here. There's no subtlety whatsoever. And it's just, of course, nonsensical. You can't act like they're bad people, or those who are non-believers anyway, or at least those who are criticizing you are bad just because of that. You don't necessarily have to be a non-believer to criticize people like this. Christians could criticize other Christians in a healthy way. Constructive criticism in itself doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. I mean, if a Christian wants to criticize another Christian, they can if they want, as long as it's constructive and it's done in a healthy manner. You can do that. So, but the thing is that this individual does not seem to realize that what he's saying is completely nonsense. There's no substance to what he's saying whatsoever, especially considering the fact that he's just, again, talking in general terms. How is having a female character in a movie bad? Are you talking about the script? Are you talking about the way it's written? No, it's just because she's a female lead. That's it. That's literally it. He's saying as if the fact that there's a female lead is somehow is going to teach little kids to be rebellious to the authority. The authority being, of course, the adults. Gotta rebel against authority, of course. How does that even mean that? How does having a female lead equal to that? Is the female character talking about the parents? I don't know. Is the female character talking about, let's say, the pastor, the ministry, the president, anybody from the government? I don't know. This person here, he's not saying what exactly. He's not specifying what that is. How is having a female lead means that is rebellious against authority? How does that mean that? Just the mere fact that she's a female lead? That's it. Just because she's a female lead. That's it. It does not go any deeper than that. It just goes on the fact that she's a female lead. That's it. So this is confusing when you think about it. How is having a female lead means that person is being rebellious? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. It's weird. I just don't get it. I'm just confused here, really, folks, because this entire thing is just heavily flawed. Especially considering the fact he clearly did do his research. Clearly did. He just making shit up as he often does, with like he did with the previous installments of this video series I've been doing. It just doesn't make any sense because he's just basing it on nothing. I mean, he's trying to use a scripture as a way to back up his claim, but using scripture that in itself is not enough. You can't just quote the Bible and expect me to just automatically accept it. That's not enough for me. I need more. I need more substance in that. I need more substance to back this kind of stuff up, which you clearly aren't doing. Ugh.
Discovered yourself by your disobedience. Is this what you want your children to learn? The conclusion of the story is filled with continual back-talking, arguing with authority, and finally Bambi ultimately saves the day through one last act of disobedience to authority. And then the father is shown to have been wrong about almost everything. He was wrong about Bambi not being ready to stay with him. He was wrong about never looking back to the past. Basically, you have a father demonized who has to learn his lessons. The son discovers himself by disobedience to parental authority. What message is that? That is the same Crowley message. It's the same thing found in Harry Potter.
No, I've already established this already, but yes, he takes issue with magic. Just the fact it's magic, that's it. Even though God himself used magic because he poofed everything into existence. He literally worded a lot of stuff into existence. That's magical. Jesus rose from the dead. That's magical. God or Jesus turned water into wine. Always the other way around. But whatever the case may be, it's still magical.
It's the same message of Satan found in Genesis chapter 3. In fact, I can't find hardly one single old children's film or modern children's film that doesn't have the same message. It is the same story presented over and over again with just a different creature. Rebellion will set you free. Is that true? No, sir. Let's jump to 1946, Song of the South, produced by Walt Disney.
Oh, you're bringing that movie. Of course. Christ almighty. Yeah, that infamous movie, Song of the South. Okay, you're gonna bring that up. Are you gonna do the thing I think you're gonna be doing? Are you serious? Okay, just get out the mouth. Just say it. Just get this out the way. I think I have a hunch what you might say about this. Okay, because we all know what the story behind this. Yeah, because that film was pretty much got banned in a lot of ways. Yes, Song of the South was pretty much shadow banned, pretty much. Because of the controversy at the time, and to this very day, it's still receiving some controversy. Even though you can't really find it anywhere. I mean, Amazon maybe, I guess, or eBay, but still, Disney is not going to really have it in their platform at all.
Re-released in 72, 81, and 86. From one review, they tell us that 7-year-old Johnny is excited about what he believes to be a vacation at his grandmother's Georgia plantation with his parents. He discovered that his parents will be living apart for a while, and he is to live in the country with his mother and grandmother while his father returns to Atlanta. Heartbroken because his mother won't let him keep a puppy, Johnny defiantly takes the dog.
Oh, okay. I guess just me jumping the gun here. Because I thought he was going to go for the racist aspect of it, apparently, because that film was pretty much banned because it was allegedly racist. Anyway, I haven't seen the film myself, so but I highly doubt that it is supposedly racist. But anyway, that's pretty much besides the point because he just stands on the fact that the little boy in that movie is be rebellious to the parents. He doesn't like that. How dare you? Ugh.
To Uncle Remus and tells him of his troubles. She orders the old man not to tell any more stories to her son. Seeing Uncle Remus leaving from a distance, Johnny rushes to intercept him, taking a shortcut through the pasture where he is attacked and seriously injured by the resident bull. But while Johnny hovers between life and death,
Dude, spoilers. But that aside, he's still not explaining nothing. Like that's kind of irrelevant anyway because he's still not explaining anything. What does any of this have to do with Bambi? The director of the Songs of the South is not the same director who made Bambi. You realize that, right?
his father returns and reconciles with his wife. But Johnny calls for Uncle Remus, who had returned in all the commotion, and the boy miraculously survives. After Johnny awakens, the film skips ahead a bit to Johnny, Jenny, and Toby skipping along and singing Zippity-Doo-Dah, while Johnny's returned puppy runs alongside him. The story ends with the father realizing he was to blame, as well as the mother. They all repent, and little Johnny gets to keep his puppy and gets to keep his...
Well, Johnny over here has returned the puppy to some place. Look, I'm yelling again. Oh, Christ almighty. Oh, my throat. Anyway, I see what he's trying to do here. It's a manipulative tactic because he's trying to intentionally overload information to make you confused. And he can use your confusion as a way to prove his point, which is just stupid.
Way! The movie itself says IMDb, serving up a number of its own morals, like the fact that a parent's good intentions can unwittingly stifle their child. Is this the morality? You won't talk to your children? You know, fathers can sometimes tell you things that are oppressive, and you ought to just learn to find yourself through same message, same message. You will find yourself through disobedience. Zippity-doo-dah. How about that? Here's Gentle Ben. Well, now, instead of a little dog and zippity-doo-dah and nice little butterflies and little bluebirds, and instead of a little Bambi, now it's a nice little cuddly bear. 1967. Exploring the Bear River Game Reserve, young Mark stumbles upon a baby bear cub. Suddenly confronted by its angry mother, he climbs to the safety of a tree. As the bear approaches her cub, she is killed by Fogg Hansen, a hunter, unaware of Mark's presence. Fogg takes the cub. The next day, Mark discovers the bear cub concealed in Fogg's waterfront shack. The movie consists of a father continually having his commands disobeyed, yet he gives no discipline. The boy ignores his father's command to quit visiting the bear, lest the bear mauls him. But the boy, because he's taking things into his own hands and trusting to his own understanding, continually disobeys and goes and visits the bear. Finally, the father purchases the bear, rewarding the boy's disobedience. The story ends with the father stuck under a fallen tree, and the boy again disobeying his father's frantic yells to get away from the bear. The boy ignores his father, and then the bear comes and saves the father. And the whole thing ends with the father realizing, I was wrong. The bear saved me, boy. You were so good to disobey me. You get rewarded. You found yourself. And I must basically submit to you. What in the world do you have here? Same message. The message never changes. Just the little furry creatures change. Same exact message.
Again, the whole thing with the bear and whatnot, he's using another metaphor here because he's trying to act as if that your parents know all the answers. Your parents know what's wrong and right. Which, unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, you would think that because your mother gave birth to you and whatnot. So you would assume that they know better because they're older than you are. I mean, I wish that was true. I so wish that was true. In hindsight, no, that's not. That's highly unrealistic. I know he's trying to use some of these stories, like we said, these examples as metaphors. They're not supposed to be literal, but apparently, if you don't listen to your parents, something bad will happen. Something awful will occur if you don't obey your parents. But that doesn't make any sense, really, because it doesn't necessarily mean that your mama and your papa is going to have all the answers, and they won't. Even if they're great, wonderful parents, they'll be some of the best parents in the entire damn world. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they know what's going on in the world. They're still going to be ignorant in something. Everybody's going to be ignorant in something. You're not going to know everything. Even if you go to the best schools in the entire world, there's still something you're not going to know about. And that's the case. There's learning does not stop at school. It really does. You keep learning even after the fact. You keep learning until the day you die. It literally never ends. It's forever. It's a forever thing. Yeah, it's one of those things that lasts until the end of time. It's eternal. Is it? Why am I talking? Of course, there's people like this. I'm not going to use common sense. Common sense ain't so common when you think about it.
I challenge you to find me a children's film where it doesn't have this message. Where the Red Fern Grows, 1974, set in the Ozarks of Oklahoma. The story is about a young boy who is unhappy that he does not have any hunting dogs. The boy continually speaks with an attitude to his parents and grandfather. He learns from his grandfather that God helps those who help themselves and who meet God halfway. The boy doesn't tell his father he's working and saving money for hound dogs, since he knows his father can use another mule. He wrestles with what to do with his money still hidden from his father, and finally decides with the grandfather to buy himself the dogs instead of helping the family. There is euphemistic profanity throughout. The child can't wait for his dog, so he disobeys his parents and sneaks away at night to a nearby city to retrieve his dog. He promises his little sister a treat if she will not tell on him. He arrives back home with presents for everyone, and everybody looks at him. They're dumbfounded. They don't know what to say. He receives no correction for all of his secrecy and disobedience. All he hears from his father is, "They're fine hound dogs, son." When his dog trees a coon, his father tells him, "Come home. There's no use chopping down a large tree like this." But he tells his father, "No, I can't come home." The mother tries to intervene and demand his immediate obedience right now. The boy defies his mother and her threat of a whipping. The father and grandfather then take up for the boy's defiance, since the boy made a promise to his dogs. But they only intervene passively by walking away and leaving it all on the shoulders of the mother, who finally, again, lets the boy have his.
Again, what are you talking about? What? I don't get any of this. Yes, I know. It's pretty much the whole thing. Obey authority. That's what he's getting at. Obey authority. Obey authority. Obey authority. Obey authority. 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 Any authority figure, I guess in this case, your mama, papa. Obey them. No matter what the outsiders tell you, no matter what your friends say, no matter if your husband or girlfriend, whatever, whoever you marry, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, the only good people in the world, the only people who has the best advice, I should say, are your parents. I guess your pastor too, I guess. But still, because the ministry is viewed as a figure of authority, and so does the pastor. They're put them as authority figures, but don't you dare rebel against them. So again, what does any of this have to do with anything? What?
He has discovered himself. He has realized himself. He has found who he is by defiance and rebellion. What is the theme of the show? Manhood comes by disobedience to authority. Self-discovery comes by disobedience to authority. Okay, let's same year, 1974, Benji. What a sweet little dog. Okay, let's see. The first movie about the famous golden mutt. Benji is a stray who has nonetheless worked his way into the hearts of a number of the townspeople who give him food and attention whenever he stops by. His particular favorites are a pair of children who feed and play with him, against the wishes of their parents. When the children are kidnapped, however, the parents and the police are at a loss to find them. Only Benji can track them down, but will he be in time? If he can save the day, he just may find a permanent home he's been looking for. And of course he does. Poor Papa has to repent of all of his meanness. The children have rebelled. And again, what is the reward for rebellion? Oh, it's a parade, or it's you get a bear, or you get this, you save your father. What's the reward? This time you get a nice little dog. Just rebel and you get blessed. Is that what God says in Ephesians? If you disobey, it will not go well with thee. That's what the book says. But what the movie, I tell you, you just tell me what the name of the movie is, tell me what the animal is, and I'll tell you what the story is before you even show me. How did you know that? Simple.
Okay, I'm just having it up to here with this condescending asshole. Again, obey your parents, 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 obey your. That's all he just keeps hammering that in there. Obey your parents. You must absolutely, no questions asked, obey your parents. I thought we were supposed to talk about Bambi here. Again, his mother died. His mother died, and again, his mother died. That was like a focal point in the story. His mother died. She was shot. I know the movie's already, I mean, this seems like a spoiler, but the movie's over 50 years old, so yeah, if you didn't catch that movie by this point, I don't know what to tell you. Pretty much everybody has seen that movie already, so don't be coming at me if this seemed like a spoiler. Anyway, again, his mother died, so, okay.
Fast forward to Benji, 2004. I already know what the story is. Hey, how did you know? I just made it more blatant. I took the same theme and made it more blatant. Here it is. Benji off the leash. Well, I can already tell you what that's going to be. Somebody's going to get unhooked. Somebody's going to get freedom from oppression. Probably from a man. The main character is Colby, a young boy who lives in fear of his father, Hatchet. Aha, now I see. Who runs a puppy mill in their backyard of Mississippi. Colby's mom is unable to do anything about the puppy mills or the way that Hatchet treats Colby. When Hatchet's purebred breeder mates with a mongrel, a cute white puppy as a result, Hatchet wants to kill it, but Colby keeps it alive in secret in disobedience to his father. I decided to open up the book from which this movie came from, 2004, Off the Leash. The book says Colby was late. This is on the first few pages of the book. Colby was late, and it worried him. It seemed like his dad would never leave his dad. Funny, he thought. He often wondered how nature could get so messed up as to create a father and son so different. What do you see already in the first few pages of the book? Dad is the great evil. He is oppressive. He gives commands to mama and the children. By the way, he wears flannel shirts, and he has a beard, and he looks like a southern Mississippi redneck. And I'm going to get me a black and red flannel shirt because that's how they always present the bad guy. And I tell you, there must be something good about red and black flannel shirt to make the devil hate him so much. But I'm going to tell you something. The son argues with the mother and says, "Why don't you just leave my father? The father doesn't love you or me." She answers, "Well, two parents are better than one." "But why don't you work outside the home, mother?" Ha ha! "Why don't you seek that law career that you have your heart set on, mama?" "Oh, I don't know, son. Two parents are better than one." Oh, he talks back to his mama and says, "You won't do it because he won't let you. Father won't let you have a career. He's holding you back. He's oppressing everybody."
What are you talking about? 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 Again, what are you talking about? 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 And again, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay, some bad guys being dressed in a certain way, and then somebody in real life dresses that same way, and yada yada yada, and all the things you mentioned there. What does any of this have to do with Bambi? I thought we were supposed to be talking about Bambi and how that movie is supposedly teaching kids to be rebellious. Somebody please think of the children because the kids are being brainwashed somehow. Which again, this poster never explain how does that even happen, really. How does that even happen? I don't know. I don't know how this even occurred whatsoever. So again, nothing has been explained. And I feel like I'm repeating myself because Again, nothing has been explained. If anything, what he's doing is just leading to more questions than answers. I thought we were supposed to be talking about Bambi. If you notice, he never talked about the plot. He didn't talk about anybody about any characters. He didn't talk about the music. He didn't talk about literally nothing whatsoever. As I mentioned before, folks, whether I liked Bambi or not is completely irrelevant. Yes, it's viewed as a masterpiece. Yes, it's viewed as a classic. Yes, it's viewed as one of the best animated features out there. I mean, okay, it's true that it did receive so many positive reviews. That's true. But none of that is relevant, really. He just didn't like the fact that a lot of people paid attention to it. That's the thing. That's like the primary thing. So many people paid attention to Bambi. He didn't like the fact that people watch Bambi. Whether they like the film or not is another question. There's another debate. But again, that's kind of besides the point. Whether you like the movie or not, or you're just indifferent to it, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you still watched it. You still saw the movie either way. You still watched it at the end of the day. He just didn't like the fact that people watched it. If this film just fell into obscurity, like so many other movies did, he wouldn't care. Well, at least hardly anyone's seen it, so it's like, whatever.
Finally, the father in his flannel shirt and beard demands that the son go to the authorities and tell them that a certain dog is his so they can get it back and make money off of it. The story plays and reaches its crescendo when the boy stands before the authorities, the state authorities, and then defies his father. And guess what? Immediately, the mother and the son are rescued by the social workers and police from the oppressive father. And the jazz music comes on, leaving the dog saved, mama saved, the boy saved, everybody saved by the state who has come to the rescue now to fix everything and free you from your oppression. Where have you heard that before? Where have you heard that? Where have you heard that message? These old folks sitting down, letting their wives watch this stuff. What'd you watch while I was gone? Just Benji. Oh, okay. She's filing the divorce papers. How did I lose my wife over Benji? Simple. How did Adam lose his wife? Over a nice, pretty little cattle-looking creature. The same theme is found in thousands of places. I believe it's found everywhere. This is not even talking about the occultism and magic and witchery and homosexuality and fornication. It's just this one thing right here is satanic enough. And because people don't see fornication or witchcraft, they think it's okay. But witchcraft is rebellion. And rebellion is as witchcraft. Dads have evolved from being presented as breadwinners and wives to become outright idiots. Now the new thing is for dads to be nurturing homosexuals. Children, as I close right now,
Okay, that's where his sermon ends, pretty much. If this feels like pretty abrupt, that's because it is. It feels very abrupt when you think about it. It really is. But okay, ultimately, this has nothing to do with anything, of course. Like I was saying earlier, the whole thing with Benji and all that. Of course, at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be with Bambi, of course. Just or Benji or whatever, I guess, or Harry Potter. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what your views on these films is besides the point. Whether you like these movies or not is besides the point. Because ultimately, what this individual is doing is just control people. That's it. Ultimately, as if it wasn't obvious enough, he's just very much controlling people. And that's what his end goal is, to control a bunch of people, because he doesn't like the fact that people think different than he does and act different than he does. So I don't understand why that just had to be a thing here. Oh yes. What I'm trying to get at here is he's just filling the stereotype that Christians are angry, Christians are hypocritical, Christians are very controlling, they're always pissed off, they're always judgmental. Literally just anything you can think of the most stereotypical Christian. Check, check, check. If once fills all the checks, of course he's gonna be closed-minded. Of course he's gonna be paranoid. Of course he's gonna be sexist. You name it. Of course homophobic, transphobic, whatever else a phobic you can think of that just checks off the list. Of course, it's all there. It's all there. Of course he's gonna be loud, obnoxious, really rude, of course. And then he's going to be hella defensive about what his belief systems are. You name it, it's all there. Very toxic. Yes, this kind of attitude is what pushes people away. Of course, he's not going to hold himself accountable, as I mentioned before. There's another thing to check off the list, of course, of stereotypes of Christians. He lives pretty much fills out every check box you can think of. There you go. And nobody's attacking him, like I was saying earlier, folks. And people do criticize him, like I said before, he takes it as if the fact that you will criticize him as if that's evidence, even though he's the one that started it. When you think about it. But anyway, there's not much else I was gonna say really, and that's about it. I was gonna cut this into parts as well because this video is barely over an hour. It might as well be a short movie in that regard, but I decided not to really. I was going to cut this again and just split it into other parts, but this is what the fourth part, as I mentioned earlier. I'm just no, I'm just done. I'm so done with this sermon. This sermon is ridiculous. I expected it to be ridiculous, and I wanted to do this in my previous Disney-a-thon, but like I was saying earlier, I was dragging my feet. This was supposed to have been done in my previous Disney movie marathon, and but even when I finally got to it, I was still dragging my feet. Like this again, just this individual is overanalyzing something that isn't there. It's a non-existent problem. That's what this entire thing is. It's a non-existent problem. He's making as if there's a big deal there, when in reality there isn't. I've spoken about so many Christians like this. This was not the only time. It's not going to be the last either. So since Bambi was mentioned, I just figured I might as well talk about it here because I just thought this is dumb. It is so dumb. But anyway, spoken to a lot of dumb people and I've seen a lot of dumb people over the years. I'm actually older than he is. I mean, I don't look it, but still, I'm way older. And I came across so many dumb people over the years, and he just comes off. There's still some stupid people in the world. I was hoping they would go away at some point, but yet here we are. I didn't know if there's some kind of spiritual warfare, like I was saying earlier. With some kind of battle of some kind? I guess? I don't know. This is pretty much the end of the video, and I still don't know what's going on. I'm lost. I'm still confused. But anyway, folks, I do appreciate anyone for watching, of course. So obviously, I do appreciate anybody watching these lengthy videos, of course, because of course nothing here makes any sense, like usual. All right, folks. I guess until next time, I suppose. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah, I don't know anymore. Whatever. This guy can kiss my ass. I swear to God.